Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. Here he is. Today is September 3rd, 2025. And I would like to welcome you to my realm known as Unveiled Vibrations. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are here, and this is the place to be. I want to thank everyone for dropping by so we can have a little chat about what's going on. This is the name of the segment that I have curated. I have a audience member in the background. Please excuse the coughing. Well. Here at Unveiled Vibrations, we like to talk about some of the things that I would say is a little off the norm, and maybe discuss some intrusive thoughts regarding these things. And let's release the silence. Let's cut out all the things that we hide from the world and have the real conversation. That's what we're about here. And on other nights, I'll be up here contemplating what I'm gonna do musically, sharing some of my process with creative juices, and hopefully they do flow. But tonight I got some things I need to discuss that I had saw over the last week to week and a half on social media, and here are a couple of the topics. Recently, there was talk about our president being missing. Okay. We'll get back to that in a bit. And then I also saw some talk and chatter over the internet via TikTok, in which people were talking about aliens and comets and spacecrafts and all kinds of such like that. Specifically the Anunnakis. And then of recent, I came across a video interview with Kandi Burruss and a young lady that I have some thoughts and feelings towards, known as Leandra Johnson. But first, I want to give some shout outs to people that are in the place to be. And here we go. Thank you for joining me this evening. Mr. JoJo speaks himself. He says, "Good evening, all." Good evening to you, sir. Up next, I have a "Hey, y'all" from Alonzi123. Thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you being in the chat. Much love, much love, much love. And then I also have a musical me 123. Hey now, how you doing there? Welcome here. They are saying they always talk about aliens on TikTok. Yes, they do. Hey, the infamous cross country, I would say, and illustrious runner from West Virginia, Miss Tammy is here with us. Thank you for joining us, Miss Tammy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I'm gonna hit it, and where I'm gonna start with is this interview with Leandra and oh my gosh, Candy Burst. And I don't know if anybody seen any of the clips out there. It is exclusively the full interview, excuse me, is exclusively on Candy's channel. This is I forgot the name of the segment that she's calling it. I think it was like something on the spot or something like that, or some such like that. But uh, what made this interview stand out was the emotion that I saw in Leandra and what she is wearing on her. And I got drawn into her story. And what I found amazing about this story was it was a story of triumph. And yet, still, along the way, she has gone through several trials and tribulations, and um, the hurt that I hear in her voice is being hurt by the church because, from the outside looking in at it, from her perspective, the church has pretty much ostracized her or kind of sort of set her to the side in a bit of a way of you're too much for us to handle. And that frightens me because this was somebody that you guys elevated to stardom on Sunday's Best, and then you're so easy to discard them because of their trials and tribulations in life. And my question to the gospel music community is what happened to the ministry within the gospel? In some of her words in the interview, she talked about meeting some of her, I don't want to say the word idols, but people that you idolize and you put on a pedestal of being your heroes, the people that you look up to. And then when you meet them, they don't receive you in the way that you perceive that they would. And a lot of times where I kind of get upset about this is because you guys make yourselves look like you're so approachable. And then when people like her come, you're defensive because of the gift that they bring with them. I'm up in my head on this. Like, how can that be Christian like? if that's how you garner people within the gospel music community. And it hurts because me being a musician, that could be me one day, that I would go up to these people and expecting to be able to sit down and have a conversation or even just a brief connection, and to potentially receive what she has received. I would completely feel like she feels. Ooh, I don't want to ever be around this person ever again because XYZ happened. And for them to also be in this realm of, we celebrate your gift, but we don't celebrate you and provide to you the community that you need. Um, I think in the gospel industry, too many times, too often, people assume that everyone has life together when they're presented in that realm. And unfortunately, everyone else outside of that realm, meaning the secular world, they get a pass. And for her to say these things, like, that is eye opening and it's a little jaw dropping because you would expect different from Christians. Um, and just hearing her pour out her heart and soul and unapologetically put herself out there as, I am human first. And to people in that industry to be like, human be damned. You selling yourself as a Christian, you got to look this polished thing at all times. And no matter what you're going through, that's what you must present. I say that is not Christian like. And the reason why I say that is because if we think about Christ himself, he showed us the moments where he was contemplating the very thing that he did for us, sacrificing his life for us. And for people to think that that is not human, then I begin to question, what do you think humanity is all about? Because I think once we reach that pedestal of separation of humanity and this image that we're trying to portray, in my opinion, we lose track of humanity and we don't have that connection anymore with humanity. And in that state of mind, it becomes so easier for us to just write people off and look down on people. And unfortunately, a bit of classism sneaks in on that. And we get this aristocratic mentality and arrogance. It becomes the nature. And a lot of those people that take that stance, you don't see what that is doing to people of God, because it's all about you. It's not about the kingdom at that point. And I don't care if this video goes viral for me saying it, but the gospel industry is messed up from the top to the bottom. And I feel the anger that she had towards the industry, because you make it look so appeasing. But once we pull back the curtain and see what's really there, we see a bunch of people that are, as I would probably say, crabs in a barrel, where it's all about me and what I can get and how high I could go. What happened to the community that once was the gospel industry is simply this: these people saw the dollars and how much came in and could care less of who got in their way, who they had to step on to get there. That's scary, because you're out here marketing yourselves as the people that people can turn to when life hits them hard. And you're fine as long as they're offering the dollars to you. But when they offering their pain and sorrows to you, you don't want no parts of it. And that lets me know there is no ministry. It's all commercial. It's all about the dollar. People may say, oh, that's an unfair judgment. Is it really, though? We can take the last 20 years, last 50 years, and we can see, as we dissect the matriculation of the gospel industry, where the community crumbled, where we once could see the ones that we have uplifted as our gospel heroes, and everything has matriculated into about this set of people and that set of people versus each other. It's sad, because to me, it no longer became about God. And I could understand why somebody like Leandra would turn to everyone else outside of that, because with them, she found more of a community. For her to say, I can look at somebody like Tyrese and see that is my brother. And looking at his life, all the trials and tribulations that Tyrese has gone through, that man is still out here praising God and preaching and spreading that Jesus is a part of his life. But because he might have a drink, he might smoke a cigar, the gospel world say he's playing in these nightclubs and stuff like that. It saddens me, because how can you look down on this man and this woman, Leandra, for going where the people are? We talk about saving souls out here, and we talk about bringing Christ out to the world, but then you don't want to go into those spaces because what? It might be too hard to reach them. They might see the mask that you put on. Is that the real reason? Or is it that your connection with Christ isn't as deep as you think it is? And you would get exposed. Or maybe it is. And you just don't have the language to share God at that person's level. What I saw was a young lady that was crying out for help and had nowhere else to turn to because everyone that she turned to acted like she was too much. My thing is, if you're in that space, don't try to do that alone. That's the problem. Why you alone are trying to help save this person. This is what community is for. And you can say, hey, TD, well, you weren't there. You don't know everything. I know enough from what I've seen and what I hear from this young lady to know that she still loves God and she still has love for those that have wronged her, even if she has to put you in a box all the way over there on the other side of the world for her to have peace. But y'all, as a community, y'all have failed her. And I will have to applaud Kandi for saying, hey, I am here for you, girl. I got your back. What you need. Let's find a way to turn this around. And she's like, oh well, you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Cause I'm a lot. And for to be like the very person to say, no, you're not too much. Let's change that language. Let's turn that around. And let's look at life in a positive outlet. And if from this interview, all you can say is Leandra is a lost cause and she doesn't deserve to be in those spaces and doesn't deserve a redemption arc, then you have lost touch with Christ yourself. That's my real take on that. And I look forward to seeing what comes forth from the Kandi Burruss Leandra camp. If it actually garners any fruit, because what she needs right now is the support. I can tell that she has a void in her life that hasn't been filled. And that void is something that's bigger than the gospel music, that's bigger than the friendship, that's bigger than the money. I feel like she's the Christian that is constantly thirsty for God and wanting to see God's presence activated in every element of her life, not just the money and the fame. And if it's possible, I will I will offer myself up as somebody that she could talk to, that could be somebody that could turn things around. Because I'm a musician, I like to produce music, I like to be in those elements, but our creatives are so easily thrown away when turbulence comes in their lives. Because I've seen people do it to the very person that she talked about. I've seen her do it. I've seen them do it to Tyrese so many times. And somebody that has met Tyrese, I've seen his heart and how he loves on people and wants to see the best out of people. And for me, I want to see the best out of Leandra. I know we seen her light shine and twinkle a few times over the last 15 years, 16 years. But I feel like she has so much more. And once she becomes surrounded with the community and love that she needs, I feel we're going to see a difference, a total difference. But people are going to have to get over themselves. They're going to have to get over the titles and the notoriety that comes with their names. Because if that's what you're going to bring to the table with her, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to fail. If it's not spirit led and heart led, you guys will fail. I wish her all the best, and I see so much happening for her, but as long as she has the right people in her life. And she got the right one. Kandi got a big heart, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. My brother JoJo Speaks says, I saw a clip of that interview on Instagram. Kandi has such a huge heart for people she loves. Yes, she does. And oh my gosh, people have no clue about Kandi Burruss because she's another one that so many people have made up so many different stories about her that are absolutely not true. And then when you find out on the back end of it how much heart and soul that she put in to things to be elevated, you have no choice but to respect her. That's 100. Hey, that's my friend right there. Musically Me 123. She says she is not the perfect Christian. I agree. If she was a man, we wouldn't be speaking about this. Let me tell you, Kirk Franklin has gone through it. And so many times when it came up about Kirk Franklin, it was hit it and over with. Same thing with Dietrich had it. Things came up, we hit it, and we over with. And people rallied behind them, but we haven't seen them rally behind Leandra. Maybe it has happened, and it's been behind closed doors. But I think, in my opinion, I would say like this: this would be something far greater for the kingdom of heaven if it was shown, because those backdoor conversations, um, they don't mean anything until we see the fruit of it. That's absolutely true, is what she said. Talking about how the church has done people. And I feel Leandra is done, per se, with the people that don't show Christ. Talk the talk, but not walk the walk. And hey, I don't blame her. Yes, indeed. Jennifer Star McCullum says her healing is not going to come from the church. So many times people come to the church seeking out that very thing of healing. And when the church isn't equipped enough, because they're not tapping into all of their resources, because unfortunately, most of these people want to be the one to boast, I saved her. Not through Christ, we saved her. And I think that's ultimately what the problem was. When she went to the church, it wasn't a we, it was an I. Feel how you feel about it. I said what I said. And that is that. I will ask you to please go and watch this interview and come back here to the comments. Let's have a conversation about what did you see as Leandra was having a conversation with Kandi Burruss. I would love to have that conversation. And if I get enough conversation about it, I will come back up here with a second follow-up video and we'll have the discussion live, And that would be that. Next up on my agenda, Mr. Donald J. Trumpet went missing for a few days and the whole world lost its mind. Everybody started speculating all kinds of things. I heard, tripped and fell and busted his head to the white meat show. I done heard that The bruises on his hand done spread all over through his body, and he in a coma. I heard that he had a heart attack and was on his deathbed and won't be here past the weekend. And lo and behold, yesterday he popped his hips up on TV and started barking his mouth again. Oh my God. Look, what's so funny about this is so many people on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all year long have been trying to predict when he was going to kick the bucket. Look here, y'all. That man ain't going nowhere for a hot minute unless somebody does something about it. And it can't be somebody externally. It has to be somebody internally that would do such a thing. Somebody that can get close to him because, hey, he's protected. And what I find so funny about it is all these, even the videos of The Simpsons saying on this date, this is what's going to happen, and all these things are going to come afterwards, and the world is going to do this and that. Man, come on, y'all. Y'all said he was going to be gone by his birthday. The man's still here. Y'all said 4th of July. He's still here. Y'all said August the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The man's still here. We got to the end of August and everybody said, oh, this is it. He ain't been on TV for the last 4 days. We ain't seen the tweet in the last 3 days. Then the tweets come out over the weekend and everybody's like, that ain't him. That's AI. It sounds kind of like him, but not quite like him. I don't know. I think they done clone him. I think they got a body double for him. Yeah. Look, it's all hilarious to me. Trust me. It is absolutely hilarious to see all these things pop up on the internet, and then all the other stuff. Everybody's like, well, he's in hiding because the Epstein files is coming. Man, you think that boy gonna hide because of these Epstein files? Y'all forgot a few months ago, this guy had the FBI to redact anything that had his name on it. Just think about that. Just think about that. If he had them to redact stuff, and supposedly, during the hearings today, they had a chance, Congress had a chance to look at these pages, and they were saying that whole pages is blacked out. And they're like, why is it blacked out? Well, maybe because it's Donald Trump. And this has been a complete black cloud over his head this whole year because he flew too close to the sun, unfortunately, being with his homie, Jeff Epstein. And the way I feel about it is this, people, we ain't going to get all the truth about the Epstein files. And they're going to do their darndest to shield this man from it because He is the president of the United States of America. And frankly, yeah, he got there by accident, but he knew what he was doing when he went out there on the campaign trail. Because that man don't want to go to jail. Mm-mm. Even with 34 counts, felony counts, he still ain't go to jail, y'all. And yet still be like, he's gonna go down. No, he's not. Because believe it or not, somebody like him will have all kinds of parameters in place to ensure that he don't go down. The only way he does go down is if somebody internally makes him go down. And who's that going to be? Some people are saying JD Vance is going to be the guy. JD Vance is not that guy. Why? Because he knows if he becomes that guy, the target will be on his back so fast that he himself will be replaced. So I'm gonna say allegedly over the last, I'll say probably like a week or so, there was some alleged tweets that came out from JD Vance stating that he's ready to be president and stuff like this. And I'm not taking that total as factual, but I can see him just waiting for the perfect time and waiting out this whole Donald Trump storm. It's a shit storm, of course, but just waiting out this whole thing for his chance. And I might have to say, like, if they do tap JD Vance on the shoulder, just know that the turnaround of things and how things will visually look with a JD Vance presidency, I can instantly hear people say, America's back, baby. And yet still, they still continue forward with their current agenda. And unfortunately, the thing is, American people have become numb to the fact that, hey, we don't really want to know. We kind of want to know, but we really don't want to know what you all are up to behind the curtain. You know, like it's very small group of people that actually want to know, that will sit here and conjure up ideas of what they could be doing back there, and versus what we have available to us to spin a narrative with. And man, oh man, when I say this, um, the notion of saying that America is back because you have a squeaky clean looking president and somebody that will smile in your face and tell you everything is okay and rob you blind is back versus somebody that will just casually throw out secrets and be like, "Oops, I didn't mean to say that." I I think Americans are what Europeans have garnered us to be is you guys are sleep at the helm and very naive to what is really going on across the country. And unfortunately, because we've gotten conditioned to accepting these things, it's just so easy for us to just shrug it off as, oh, they're up to their usual things again, instead of standing up against it and asking for correction and asking for them to keep in mind the very things that they stated that they would be there for, is to protect us against all, and I do mean all, foreign and domestic threats. But unfortunately, we won't see that happen. Like it's just it, it it's just too much of the right thing to do is to keep the American people at the forefront. And I think it's because they can't help themselves because of greed. And it's simply because once they found out what they could receive on the back end of things, I mean, they just fell into a rabbit hole of, well, let's see what else I could get. And we saw that on full display this year. The president has tried almost everything possible. Well, let's see what else I can do. Let's see what else I can get away with. And the fact that people are like, well, he's just doing the things that a president should do. No, 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 no. Y'all dismiss that too quickly without question. Well, somebody had to do something. Nobody's ever done anything until he did it. You're forgetting the reason why some people may haven't done it was because of the effect that it would do worldwide, not just here in the country. And we have thrown all morals away at this point. And it's just people are in this mind state of it is what it is, man. You know, so what? They're gonna rounding up immigrants all over the country, man. So what, man? They shouldn't be here illegally, man. And I'm like, how do you put everybody in the same box and just ignore this special circumstances of I came to America to escape death from my country. And you're like, oh, you were here, you didn't get your papers, send them back. And that is supposed to be right. And you were like, well, we're a country founded on Christian values. How? How are you a country founded on Christian values when you're so easy to turn away the poor or discard the poor? Discard those that are not in a good space in life, period. And it's just like, hey, man, well, come back to us when you get your life together, is what people say. Ah, oh my gosh. And that how it's funny how the church does that. Um, just so casually. And it's just sad. Uh, and this musical 1, 2, 3 talks about Leandra, like the church unfortunately won't bring her peace. It's so sad. And that is so true. Um, and I parent that with political parties stating that they are Christian led, but yet they do everything opposite in pursuit of peace. Like, how can you make that make sense? Like, I will scorch the earth and kill people in pursuit of peace rather than talk to them diplomatically. Right. Miss Jennifer says, I think we would have known in our shandos if he was gone for real. Yeah, yeah, we would have felt it if Trump was gone. And there is a date when he will be gone. It's just not within this time frame that people have fixated on. Just whatever, man. People like get over it. He is here and he'll be here until he's not. Thank you, Miss Musical, about the beautiful take for the answer. Uh, yeah, this is huge right here. People need to realize they could be in her position tomorrow. Absolutely. Absolutely. For them to just, she, yeah, so easily. And I just, it doesn't sit well with me. And just thinking about what she's saying here, they will, and we need to prepare for it. The departure of Donald Trump. Yeah. And the fact that they will continue to push this agenda. And my thing is, we got to stay prayed up. We got to keep God in our lives because He is the source of everything. He is the author and He is the one that knows the final outcome of this. And prophets, we can speak about what we see prophetically, and still have it wrong because the timing isn't as straight up and down as people would like to perceive it to be. Time is a fluctuating thing, and to really truly understand that time branches every day with the micro nuances of life, and you never know what life brings because time doesn't stop. It can be manipulated, but it doesn't stop. And even if you are able to manipulate it, it's not a continuous manipulation because you got to sleep. And like she said, none of what they are doing is a secret. It's not. As much as they try to keep it a secret, it doesn't stay secret. I mean, it all comes out, you know? And what do you do with that information is how um how you govern yourselves accordingly, you know? Because a lot of people they don't do nothing with it. They just sit on it or they ignore it. And like Jennifer said, it sounds too much like right for them to keep the people that put them in office in mind and do the right thing, do right by people, you know, because it's just a mess. And like she said, man, child, the manipulation of Christian values is what we've been seeing for years. And my spirit feels all of this is gonna catch up to them. It's gonna catch up to them, and the months ahead is gonna really start to reel his head out. And I I wanted to say that save this for the last segment of the night after I get to these aliens, which I'm about to get into now. Um, and you know how these people are acting, man. It is absolutely gross. Like you said, musically me. But God is in control. And I can give you an example of how God is in control. The Republicans in Texas sought out to manipulate things towards their favor for the 2026 midterms and tried to selfishly alter things into their favor. And it was so funny as things were starting to turn a corner regarding it. Oh my gosh. I heard from on high, watch this. I said, watch what, God? What you talking about? Watch what I do in spite of what they're doing. Oh, you don't say. See how they try to turn this in. It was so funny because, like, in a flash, I saw 10 seats and I didn't understand what it meant until it came out into the news headline. And I was like, my God, you did it. What happened? They tried to steal 5 seats. And what wound up happening was they opened up 10 seats. And now they have to have these special elections to fill those seats. And that wasn't their intentions to do that. Their intentions was to specifically target these areas and get back the power that they wanted, or how some people they once had. Because some people believe that the Democrats gerrymandered their way into these seats that they have right now, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. It's possible. I've seen them do it in other states, but in Texas, I don't know. No, I'm not going to believe that because the Republicans have been in control of that state for more than 30 years. So you trying to tell me y'all just allow this to happen as a party? No, I don't believe. What I can believe is what I see. And what I see is you tried to do something and it backfired. What you meant for evil has turned into the good for the people. And now you're trying to figure out how to fix it. Um, and to know that God was like, yeah, my hand was on this the whole time. Yeah, no matter what y'all try to do, remember you gotta come past me. I'm God. God, I I have the final say. And I said this a few months ago when I was talking about the election, how many years ago I had this back and forth with God about the future and how I was shown that the Democrats and Republicans would go back and forth in power right around the exact same time. uh, God said it would happen. And it was just like, oh, wow. And, you know, everybody had hope when Kamala was announced to be the Democratic nominee that she would win. And there's still speculations that she actually did win. But, however, we are still here that we went from a Republican to a Democrat, back to a Republican in power. And all I can say was, well, true. God, you said it and it happened. Just like with the pandemic. He said that we were going to be locked away for 3 years. And for the most part, you know, we were out of commission as a country for 3 years. And I haven't received a lie from God yet. So when it comes to this stuff, these politicians are trying to do. And if God says something is going to happen, I believe him every time. I do wait and see when it's going to happen. Because, like I said earlier, time doesn't flow the way that we think it does. And the way I visualize time is a ladder, and we move up and down as we move linear. So we skip, you know, out of different possible scenario of events, but they're related because it's all moving linear, if that makes sense. Uh, Maybe one day I will have to have a whole segment on just talking about time itself and how time as a construct flows. If if you feel that, let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. Um, but my last segment of the night, I'm going to go in for this one here. So over the last couple of, I would say about a week or so, I've been hearing and seeing things about UFOs and the military declassifying stuff about all kinds of UFAs and bodies that they found and artifacts that they found, and all kinds of archaeologists found this under the pyramids and everything like that. And then a name pops up, the Anunnakis. And along with that comes the urban legends and folklore of this ancient civilization that came to Earth and genetically modified the life that was here into who we are today, and some of the stories of they were the ones that modified us into being slaves. And it's quite interesting, all of the things that you can find out on the internet and the rabbit hole that you can deep dive into. And I have one additional take on it, because when reading the Bible and the text reads, let us make man in our image. And the voice of the text is meant to be the voice of God speaking. And I have to sit back and say, who is us? Now, mind you, this is before life was even described in the Bible. Like, you be like, wait a minute. Pause everything. Who is us? And what was this image that y'all had? And so, doing a deep dive on this, there are areas in the internet where people are in belief that there are many gods, and there's a portion of the Bible that talks about I there is one God. that's above all gods, and he is a jealous God, and there will be no other gods before him, and everything like that. And I believe that there is a supreme being over everything. And there is a hierarchy in things. And what begins to come very interesting in things as you do the research and follow the history of the world, there are texts and stone tablets and all kinds of things that have been unearthed that mention this group of beings that they looked at as God. And consistently, you'll hear the Anunnakis and a couple others, and there might be a variation of the name Anunnaki. And the description is they came from the stars, from the heavens. And when you sit back and contemplate coming from the stars and heavens and such like that, you begin to open your mind to the thought of ter- extraterrestrial beings traveling from far away, coming here and mixing and mingle with life that is here. And there are some allegations that the Anunnaki were actually the angels that came to Earth, and they made it with the women here because they are so beautiful, and they couldn't resist them. And from that, we had the Nephilims and the giants and all kinds of other creatures. And then we started to get into the mythology of things, of the demigods and other gods, and everything begins to morph into mythology. And now we have urban legends of these people came here, they colonized us, and then they left us for some time. And every now and then they would revisit to plant seeds of knowledge and technology to see what we would do with it. And once they are pleased and the development, they leave us for a set amount of time and then plan to come back again. And recently there was a discovery of an asteroid entering into our solar system. They call it Three Eye Atlas or something like that, after a previous one, Two Eye Atlas. But this one in particular intrigues everyone because it changed course abruptly, and it did some things that were unusual, as the scientists have discovered. They were saying that when it changed course, it jumped ahead in distance out of nowhere, and they can't explain how they had it. And then to find out, multiple entities that have been organizations that have been tracking this have the same data, and everybody is freaking out about it because they think this is not an asteroid, but an actual spacecraft of some sort of thing, because their take on it is this thing teleported. That's using the limited amount of knowledge that we have to explain the unexplainable. Just like when they talked about discovering their planets and the fact that the sun went around us, and based off of our proximity, we felt that everything revolved around the earth, when in fact we revolved around the sun. And because they began to track things and compare perspectives across the globe with other scientists, they discovered that, oh, we aren't the center of the universe. In fact, this thing that grants us light and heat and warmth is the very thing that's at the center. And so that leads us to looking at the world in a different light with the limited amount of knowledge that we have, and to think that a group of people came from above, from the heaven, and our greatest amount of knowledge, we will either demonize it or glorify it. And what we're faced with is to pretty much put them in either box until they prove otherwise. And unfortunately, because our record keeping 5,000 years ago wasn't as vast as it is today, we don't have all the information. And so we still are going at things from a limited amount of knowledge. And I think it will be interesting for us to find out the real truth, because I have a interesting take on this. And I say this is solely for the purpose of entertainment in the loosest way, and not to look crazy or anything like that. But just imagine if there was this race of people that were controlling everything, and they were in this godlike tier that have these high expectations of us as a creation of theirs, and to see us frivolously fighting over something as small as gold and oil and land. And they come back and see us going back and forth at each other. Oh, well, you're dark skin. You're pale skin. And they're like that. Stop that. What are you doing? like parents do with their kids, like slap them all around. Stop this. And set the record straight. Get everything back in decency and order and fly away. Just go with me for a second. Like, if you imagine seeing this massive spacecraft just descend down on the earth and just sit there, hover with their lights twinkling around it, and All of a sudden, these beams come down, and you like these giant people of all kinds of color come out of it, and they're like, "Ooh, ga da da ba da 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 ba da." And we're like, "Huh? What are they saying?" And then magically, we know exactly what they're saying because their form of communication can instantaneously be translated worldwide. Can you just imagine that God here? Like, because think about it, God is everywhere and has the ability to speak to anyone in any language and speak to the animals. That's a level of telepathy, inception, or whatever you want to label it as, that is far beyond any level of thinking that we can conjure up as human beings. And to think that they're on their way past Earth, because this is what they're alleging about Three Eye Atlas. Its trajectory is coming past Mars and Jupiter, past us. And then it's just like, what if it is a alien spacecraft and they're coming here to set everything straight? Just think about the fear and pandemonium that would come over people because they're like, the government lied to us. The government never told us this. The government this and that. And it's like, well, they didn't know either. Or so they say. And I don't think they know everything. They don't. Because think about it. They have yet to completely explore the bottoms of the ocean. How can we say they know everything when they haven't done that? And that's here on Earth. And allegedly, recently over the weekend, there was a mysterious broadcast announcing they're coming here to Earth. And they want us to prepare for their arrival. And in this mysterious broadcast, it was happening during some of the sporting events this weekend that here in Georgia and other, I think South Carolina and Alabama got it. Some parts of Florida got it. And allegedly, I'm gonna say, because I can't really find any recording myself. It's just people saying that on top of the sightings of meteorites coming down here in Georgia. Now, some people have seen those rocks and they say they're glowing and releasing gases and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, I would anticipate that from Earth science, understanding that these are rocks that have traveled at great speeds across the cosmos and coming into the Earth's atmosphere, they are heated up. And a lot of times they disintegrate before they even reach land. But they must have been massive enough to reach land And here we are with this message that the weather is going to get wonky and we're going to see some interesting things unfold around the world. Uh, we have already seen these things. That's my thoughts and feelings. And I, don't, I don't know about you, but feeling the weather change early already puts me in a mind state that things are not normal. And to prepare for life with the early winter and hurricanes hitting places that normally don't hit them and tsunamis, it's normal now to me at least. And having some of my conversations with God over the last few months, where the month of July specifically was huge because of all the floods and mudslides and storms all over this country. And then the fires in August. I'm sitting here like, okay, what's coming next, Lord? And this is where I'm bringing things to a close. What's next? Um, it's interesting that people talk about extraterrestrial event. Um, I myself felt that this was supposed to happen in 2021. Um, but it has been delayed. Um, in my conversations with God, I've seen a worldwide event in which uh, the continents shift, and it looked very similar to the movie 2012 and the floods and tsunamis and everything like that. And we as a people were faced with having to survive by any means. And to watch the world just completely flip and turn on its head. It's a bit of a nightmare, but it seems so far fetched that it's almost unbelievable to even say it out loud. And then to see a new world government or new United States government come from it, and to see them surround themselves with alien artifacts as the means of guidance is it sounds like something out of a science fiction TV show like Stargate or something. And the way I feel 2025 will end I feel like 2025 is gonna end as normal as it possibly can with regular snowstorms. Yeah, will it be record setting storm? Yes, we will have record falls of snow. Will there be hurricanes that hit land on the United States? Yes. Will there be tornadoes? Yes. Will there be any more earthquakes? Yes. Will there be any more school shootings or mass shootings? Yes. Those things have been normalized. Now, when it goes into 2026, 2027, 2028, people, I'll tell you like this: there is so much room for possibilities of things supernaturally happening. It will scare you because it can only be God or extraterrestrial aliens. Like that, you're not. There's, uh, there has been urban legends that they were here, is still here, and have a civilization underwater somewhere in Antarctica and inner Earth, like depicted in uh, Godzilla movies. Um, is it possible? It's possible. Mhm. Will they ever give us the truth? That is, I think, like the X Files, the truth is out there, and it some of it is going to come to surface because some of the video reports that I've seen recently is um, our government and NASA are looking to declassify and release um, some of the documents and photos and things that they've had in archive from before 1990. And just think about that. Anything before 1990 being released publicly for us to garner our own opinions on and chew on it, dissect it any way that we want to. Why would they do that? Knowing what it could do to people. And I simply leave it here and end the show with this. Here in America, our government likes to desensitize us to things and normalize things. So when things actually begin to happen for real, we just go with it because, well, that's just normal. Or, oh, seen that before. And unfortunately, that is far more dangerous than people know. Because when people get to the point of where they don't care anymore, um, humanity suffers because what happens is we'll fall for anything. without seeking the truth. And we don't need, as a people, to not seek the truth. Because if we get to the space of not seeking the truth, well, the lie will find you. And when the lies find you, guess what? You will be in its clutches. And once you're in its clutches, it's going to take the act of God to bring you out. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining me for another episode of Unveiled Vibration. I will try to come back up here before the month ends and hopefully have some more deep conversation with you guys. I just know this. This might be deep to you, but there's so much more depth that I could bring to this table because it's all a rabbit hole. And I thank y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, people. And if you like, you can follow me on TikTok and YouTube as Unveiled Vibrations. I have some music available out here on all streaming music platforms. You can find me as TD McCollum. I have 3 lovely singles on me playing saxophone and marching band original composition at my alma mater, South Carolina State plays. And you can find me musically at Mr. TD McCollum. And my CashApp is $, Mr. TD McCollum. And if you want to have the conversation offline, please email me at Apostle TD McCollum. And on Saturday mornings, you can catch me with my wife and my brother-in-law as we sit down together, socialize for a little bit, and go through a devotional and have prayer every Saturday morning on Faithful Warrior Ministries at 10-ish a.m. every Saturday. I love you guys. Thank you. And I wish you a good night. Oh, thank you for dropping by, man. Amir, I love you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you coming to check out what I have. Definitely hit the replay if you missed anything. Love y'all. Peace.